Good evening and welcome to Fridays After 5 presented by Chase from the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts. We are not on location at the museum. We are at Nutty Buttery, a local restaurant right here in our backyard. Tonight, we are beginning or furthering our journey down the road leading us to hip hop and Dirty South, our special exhibition coming up in the lower level of the museum. To help us with that, I am very pleased to welcome Elbravador to the screen. I can't believe you're here with me, sir.
Peace and blessings. Good to be here. It's good to be here. Hello to everybody.
Before we get into our discussion, and we have some guests that'll be joining us along the way, that's why you see us kind of off to the side rather center frame. Can you tell us something about yourself in your own words?
Well, I got into this thing, this hip hop thing in 1979 when I heard King Tim III with Personality Jock. Then after that, it was Sugar Hill Gang. Then I heard Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, and that was it for me. It'll be 40 years this year for me DJing. Matter of fact, this month in May, I've been DJing 40 years. I was 15 years old.
No.
And I was DJing everything from rap, hip hop, to disco, funk, you name it. I've been DJing it. Then I got into my first DJ group was called the Junior Funk Machine, and then got into playing stuff. And then I got with a good friend of mine, Anthony Walker, DJ MC Fresh, and we went by the Z-Rock crew in 1984. And then
here I was born. Here I was born.
Oh wow, okay. 1984, Z-Rock crew was born, and then we got into recording music professionally. Then 1987, brought the record out, but we also right before that went on the air as the Z-Rock crew on the show called Scratch on WKIE, and then they went rap all the time, and then the rest was history on that. We just was one of the first hip hop stations to do rap music, and it was only 3 ones known at that time, and that was K-Day in LA, that was WRAP in Norfolk, Virginia, and then it was us, WKIE in Richmond, Virginia. So we really did that. And I actually began my radio broadcast career from my brother, Chocolate Chip, who's also an R&B radio legend here in Richmond, Virginia, along with Kirby Carmichael and a host of others.
Yes, sir.
And 85 is when I started DJing on air, broadcasting. So then after that, did a couple of things. We did some professional recordings, and then I got signed with First Priority, MC Light's label, the Audio 2's label, and I started recording with them and recorded with the Alliance, MC Peaches up in New York and in Brooklyn. So I was in Brooklyn like almost every weekend. After I finished my air shift, I would go up to, Brooklyn. Fresh would go with me sometime as well, because we actually had a contract then to be with them, but we didn't, it never happened, as well as the Royal Sound crew here in Richmond, which was another big group that used to do house parties, and they'd have so many bookings that they'd have to split up. Wow. So they were also signed, but nothing ever happened with them. So, and I'm kind of skipping things going all the way through, because I actually did a documentary, not only on the soul R&B radio legends of Central Virginia, but one on the hip hop legends of Central Virginia that explains all of this. So you got to see the documentary to see everything. And for me, actually just skipping things for the sake of time. After that, I left WKIE and I went to WANT on its last days. I had a show there at night that I did, and I was playing hip hop music then. So I've been broadcasting hip hop music for quite a while. And then I went on to other stations to continue my broadcast career. WDCE, Mike Street and I and John Kilby, we were over at University of Richmond Station, did some stuff there in the early days. Then I went some years later and went on Power 92 and was there for a minute, and then went on to J100, where I had a hip hop show called Old School True School back in 97. But before that, I also did something with Chris Brooks, and it was a show called The B-Side. We were a video show, a hip hop information show. We did that along with videos and had a really good run with that. We were the only show at that time that had the ratings to where they put air show on the channel lineup to let people know what time we came on. No other show on community access at that time had that. Maybe August Moon did with Tell It Like It Is at the time. So, with that, going through all of that, we did quite a bit over the years. I've done quite a bit over the years as well. So that's me in a nutshell. And getting on the thing about the dirty South and everything. See, I saw all of that. I lived this. I seen everything transpire. I seen everything transform. I seen everything just about from the beginnings of hip hop that we saw here in Central Virginia to where it is now. I pretty much seen it.
Well, that's evident, and y'all at home who don't know this man here, you see we've got a legend here to give us actual knowledge about it. I was telling him earlier I could list off some facts and say some things, but I wasn't there. This man was there. This man is the subject we're talking about. So let's get into it.
Okay.
What is hip hop? At first, well, just broadly, what is it?
Well, hip hop to me, see, that's a conversation we were having before we started. It could, a lot of people call it a culture. Mm-hmm. Some people call it an art form. Mm-hmm. I like to just say it's a culture because it's not just rap music, but it's rap music, it's rapping, DJing, b-boying, graffitiing, and now they added knowledge to it.
Right.
So those are the elements of hip hop.
Right.
Okay. But like I said, some say it's an art form. You know, some say that. So it's almost like what's going on now. I've noticed beyond the VA is that there's a talk now because I did some filming for like a year and a half ago. I did a cross country film, and I was filming in LA. I was filming in New York, and I was going just about every weekend. I was going someplace filming for this documentary I was doing. And that's another thing I got into after, you know, from hip hop, I got into filmmaking. I've been doing filmmaking for over 20 years now, 21 years. So you're hearing that it started in the Bronx, but you're also hearing during this time, some stuff was going on in Brooklyn and Queens as well, I'm hearing.
Around what time is this?
This is about, well, hip hop's official birthday, they're saying in hip hop is 1973.
Okay.
But over in Queens, they're saying some of them were doing it in 68.
Come on now.
So I'm like, okay, hold on. But someone was clarifying it with me because, see, you got to also say rapping was done a long time ago because you got some people that were in jazz rapping.
Yes.
James Brown was rapping. Mm-hmm. Pit Meek Markham, Here Comes the Judge, 1968. So see, you have these elements that make up hip hop that were being done before, you know, some of us were alive. So that's where, to me, it can get not really confusing, but like, okay, what's going on here? What happened?
Right.
You know, yeah, things happen in the Bronx, yes. And the Bronx are very proud, and they'll say, no, it started with us. As we know it, rap music and hip hop as we know it started from the Bronx. First rap record that you heard of that its kind, Sugar Hill Gang, they were from Jersey. But the guy that wrote the raps for Big Bang Hank was from the Cold Crush Brothers, Grandmaster Caz from the Bronx.
Yes, sir.
So see, these conversations, now at one time I thought they were going to have this big conversation of, okay, how do we narrow this down? So what I like to say is, now I know I probably get some heat for this, but hey, I can only go on to what I've heard. I just say that hip hop started in New York, okay, with a big influence of the Bronx as far as we know it today. Now in Queens, those guys had systems out there. I mean, they had big systems out there. They had guys rhyming on the mic, the same thing. Grandmaster Flash's name came from a guy named Grandmaster Flowers from Brooklyn. So that's why, I always talk to Jaquan, good friend of mine. He has done an extensive work connecting with the pioneers of hip hop, especially in the Bronx. He's done a lot of that. He's done a lot of lessons, and they tell a lot of stories of things that no one ever knew. And then with what I found from doing the filming with this project I was doing, I talked to people like DJ Divine of the Infinity Machine from Queens. I talked to the original Spinderella, that was the first Spinderella from Salt and Pepper. I talked to her about some things. I spoke with DJ Kendu of the Infinity Machine. I spoke with Jalil of Houdini, you know, and I'm hearing the stories from their side, you know, the Brooklyn and Queens connection, you know.
Well, give me some of those stories. Give me some of those experiences for the folks at home who honestly don't know.
Well, like I said about Grandmaster Flowers, that's where Grandmaster Flash got his name from.
Yeah.
And Melly Mel contests to that. You know, so I'm like, wow, I did not know that. And then there's some other things like I asked DJ Divine, I asked him, did you all go into other other boroughs and hear them doing it? He said, no, we were in Queens doing this. We didn't get any influence from anyone else. That's just it. We were doing it also.
Okay, so that begs the question. If these things are happening in different places and they are not mingling and sharing ideas at this time, why does hip hop begin? What causes it to start? And how did it start so organically?
Well, I heard a story where the Godfather, they call the Godfather of hip hop, Kool Herc.
Okay.
Kool Herc used to do parties in the basement of Sedgwick Avenue building that is in the projects in the Bronx, one of the projects. And that's where they used to have parties in the basement. And Kool Herc used to do this thing with 2 turntables and just playing the break beats.
Okay.
The breaks of the songs, just taking that part and just continuing it. But the thing of it is, he wasn't on beat. Grandmaster Flash was doing it on beat. And I'm talking about the Bronx now. I'm not talking about Queens.
Right.
I'm talking about the Bronx. They would do that. There would be certain songs that they would play that everybody would get up and dance to. I remember years ago, I was one of the DJs at a club in Charles City. All they wanted to dance with, no matter what new stuff I played or what hip hop stuff I played, they didn't want to dance. They wanted to dance on nothing but the electric slide. That's all they wanted to dance to. Well, these cats, and you know, when they were DJing, certain records would get people up.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the same type thing, I'm thinking. But they just had more abundance of the different records. It wasn't just one record, but they would have certain records that they would get up to. So let me say it that way. So that's one thing. Then I'm hearing in Queens, they were having certain records they would dance to. In Brooklyn as well, Love Is the Message was a good thing from MFSB. These are all records during the disco era that was big. Disco, if they were not, and I agree with Grandmaster Flash when he said this, if there was not for disco, there wouldn't be any hip hop like we know it.
Okay, well, I want to learn more about that because I'm also interested in Love Is the Message is something you talked about, but what was the overall message that these hip hop artists were trying to convey? Is it just love, and how does it come out of disco? We talked a few weeks ago, I'm asking because we had house and hip hop on the show, and we talked a little bit about it, but we didn't get this deep.
Peace, unity, love, and having fun. That's hip hop. Peace, unity, love, and having fun. African Bambaataa said that. Zulu Nation, same thing. You know, they said peace, unity, love, and having fun. Hip hop started out of the gangs in the Bronx, and see, that's why the word hip hop. You know, but now then you got. That's why, like I said, Jaquan is such an important person to really get it right. You know, I'm saying for what I've learned. You had people that coined the phrase hip hop. You had Cowboy that would say it in his rhymes. You also had DJ Hollywood that would say it in his rhymes. Okay, but I believe DJ Hollywood was out of Brooklyn and Queens. Okay, and then you know Cowboy from the Bronx. So there was there had to have been some intertwining going on somewhere for them to do something so identical at one point. You know, there were things that they were doing different, but at some point it was intertwined somewhere. And I know Jay could probably clear that up better than what I could.
That's what I'm thinking about. It is so connected. If they
it's so connected. It's no way that they could not have heard anything. But see, Melly Mel and them used to come to Queens sometime and do shows.
Okay.
They used to do that. They used to come to Queens, but everybody could not come to Queens, and everybody in the Queens could not go to the Bronx.
Right.
So that's why, like DJ Divine said, that's why they stayed in Queens and did their thing, and everybody stayed in their areas and did their thing. I think Brooklyn and Queens did intermingled a lot you know, more so than now. I mean, there were certain people that did go to the Bronx. Like I spoke with Davey DMX. Davey DMX, he lived in the Bronx for a minute, but he would go to the Bronx every now and then. So he was probably one of the few that would go back and forth from the Bronx to Queens and what have you, you know, and everything. But
now, if this is just a New York thing, we're talking about Queens and Bronx. How does the message spread? How did it get down here to Richmond, Virginia?
Tapes and records.
Mm-hmm.
Records. The tapes were first. I remember hearing someone saying that they heard this tape from Funky 4 Plus One More.
Right.
It was on an 8-track.
Right.
And
8-track, man.
Yeah, but see, at one time back, and I think that's true because, and I believe that to be true because at one time they came out with an 8-track recorder that recorded pretty good, and my dad had one. So if they were recording them on 8-track, and I remember seeing the blank 8-tracks that you could get, they were using those more so than the cassettes. The cassettes came out like, you know, mid 70s, they came out, or maybe a little bit earlier than that. They may have came out a little, yeah, they did. They came out maybe 73, I want to say, but they weren't that an abundance of the type of recorders that they needed to be clean until a little bit later. So there were 8-track tapes that were brought down from cousins that lived in New York that came down here because, see, you got to remember, a lot of people from down south in the early days moved up there for the jobs because there were no good jobs down here, especially for black folks. It wasn't that great of jobs down here. So we had to move up north to get the better jobs, a little bit more liberal up there, a little bit more, especially when it came to black folks working and stuff. I had 2 uncles that lived in Jersey that were working on the shipyard, and one of them was a Teamster. Who ever heard of a black person being a Teamster?
Not till just now.
Yeah, my Uncle Jimmy was a Teamster in Jersey working on the ships.
Okay.
Yes, he was. He was a Teamster.
Yeah, that's one thing that we're going to be talking about, not only with this exhibition, but those coming up in the future, is the need for black people, for people who are unheard, to find someplace else to be heard. Sometimes that's up north, sometimes, years before hip hop starts, that was Europe somewhere. Now, our first guest has arrived. Come on to the show, Miss Lady. We put my mask on. Come on. Oh, your mask better than mine.
Oh, but this is official though.
Well, it just has our little VMFA look. Come on, sit down with me.
Sorry, I'm a little shy.
That's okay. Make sure, come on in the frame a little bit better.
I'm short and shy.
That's okay. No, man, it's too late now. Okay, here we are. All right, before we keep on going, good sir.
How you doing?
Hello, how are you?
Do you all know each other?
No, I'm 7. It's nice to meet you.
I'm Elbravador.
Pleasure.
7.
Same here.
Yes. I go by 7. My name is Ajhani though.
We'll say 7 because that's what you go by.
Thank you.
Before we fold you into the conversation, take just a moment to tell us who you are.
Okay. So my name is 7. I am a Richmond native. I have been here my entire life. I've become a music manager in Richmond, so I manage 3 rappers and 1 poet. I am also actually wearing some of my stuff now. I host an open mic at the Nutty Buttery called Melodic Mondays.
Okay.
I've been doing that for almost 2 years now. And I'm pretty much just trying to be a really like a community influencer within the Richmond area because I know how important culture is and how important it is interacting with our community and loving our community. So I've been just trying to build that up for the past few years since I got back home from school.
Well, you better keep going because that's what got you an invitation to the show today.
Yes, and I'm excited. I feel very, very just blessed and thankful for this.
Well done. Well, we're with a legend. I'm sure you know that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that. All right, so we're talking about, we're just talking about how hip hop began and how it traveled years back. We also have covered the themes were love and unity. And how does that theme change? Because somebody's going to tell you, no, it's not. That's not what I hear when I turn on my radio.
I think it's more or less what people actually listen to and listen for. And I think it's also just the stigma of what people deem as self-expression and understanding the stories that people are trying to tell underlining the things that they went through. And I think that's kind of how it ends up getting like lost in translation because it's like, are you really listening to the stories that these people are still trying to tell you, even under the 808s, even under the beat, even when they match everything with everything else? It's like, are you actually listening to them cry out to you and tell you what it is?
Cry out. Did you hear what she said? Listening to hear them
She's
cry
absolutely
out.
right. That's the way it's been for years. And I like what she said about the 808. We've been doing 808 beats for years, you know, and it's good to hear that backing music. But like you said, are you hearing what's being said? That's so important. So important. I just wanted to interject that. That's all.
No, please. That's. I was going to ask you what could you add to that? I mean, what's being said definitely means the words we're using, right? It means the stories we're telling, for sure. But are we saying something beyond our words, beyond our stories?
Hip hop is always somehow one way, shape, form, or fashion, not just partying, okay, and feeling good, but it's also had a message. It definitely has been strong. Hip hop is such a strong influence even today because it's the voice of the young people. Now, even with a lot of us that are older now, I mean, we are senior citizens, we still can do it and get a message out there. But see, I think a lot of it gets lost because a lot of it is not being put out there as in the forefront of the others. Unfortunately, because you have those that are in charge of certain things, record companies or whatever, that don't want to have that played because they either don't want to take a chance with it, they don't think it's going to have a return on investment, or they just don't want that message being said because it's not as profitable as saying something else.
That's what it is too. It's about keeping, sometimes with like record labels and the industry now kind of doing, it's kind of keeping our people distracted by like, you know, the flashy and the all this other stuff. And the reality of it is that the material world and material things is not something it's tangible, but it's not really tangible. And so it's allowing you to put these distractions and to put these forefronts in front of us to make it feel like, okay, me actually expressing myself and digging deep into how I make my music isn't important. I can just put some random words together and it's going to make me money. It's all about monetizing it now versus actually getting out, because before we actually had the streaming platforms that we had, people actually had to go out and sell themselves fully. And it's not that anymore. It's literally like you could just walk in and just some random stuff and people are going to support you. And
we did it years ago, selling out of the trunk. I mean, we did it. We had cassette tapes. We did it that way. Hip hop has always been a music of the unheard and the poor.
See, now, I want to talk about this. I want to pause right here and ask, because more than just hip hop comes from the unheard and the poor. And so I want to look at the theme of what it means for art to be the expression of these people who are unheard and who are poor and feel like they have something to say and nobody will listen to them say it. How does art help us get there?
Because if I mean, I don't want to step over the young lady if she wants to answer.
No, you're fine. I was taking a second to actually digest the question.
Well, here's the thing. Any artist, the whole saying goes, starving artist. Any artist that's just starting out wants to be heard. So they're going to use their talents, no matter what it is, whether it's painting, graffiti, whether it's spoken word, rap. They're going to do whatever. They're going to do what they need to do to get it out there so that they can be successful and build on their talents. Everyone has a talent, no matter what it is.
Yes, sir.
And if we can build on our inner selves and use those talents that God gave us, or whoever you say gave you that, or born with it, everybody would like that to support them. Years ago, that's how people survived. They survived on what talents they had, and they sold them to be able to eat and feed their families and to live.
Out of their trunks, like you were saying sometimes.
Out of the trunk. Same thing. And the only different that it is now is that we're in the 21st century. We've got this technology of what we're doing right now. And everybody's looking at, okay, well, I can do this, I can do that. Let me try to do this and do that. And a lot of people are successful with it. Now, there's some, I don't want to say are not successful with it, but there's some that it may be a little bit more difficult to get to that point. And then what happens is the people say, well, you know what, this is not working for me in a timely manner that I need it to be. And that's understandable. Because when it comes time to you taking care of your family, you need something that's going to work. And preferably expeditiously as much as possible.
You know what? Last night I told you I interviewed Gay Adegbalola, and she told me when she started playing her guitar, she didn't, by the way, she didn't start playing the guitar till she was 35,
Wow.
excuse me,
That's
and didn't start
amazing.
touring till she was 44.
That's amazing.
And she told me when
Age
she,
does not matter.
no, it doesn't. And
Age
now
does
she's
not
who she
matter.
is. She told me when she picked up her guitar, a college roommate had given it to her in a time when she just needed something to distract her from the stress of her life. And she had this baby to raise. She started playing it got a gig in a restaurant where she played 3 shows a night, 3 times a week, and made $25 a night. Not a show, a night. And I said to her, Troy, you can't do $25. I don't think I could ever do that. And she said, yes, you could too. If you had a baby you had to feed and you have bills to pay, and that was $300 a month.
And now she had another job on top of that, correct?
She did. She was a science teacher.
Right. Well, see, that was her part-time job.
Yeah.
That was her part-time job, and now look where it has led her.
Mm-hmm.
See, we have to look at this too, I think. And I'm 55 years old now. You know, I'll be 56, God willing, October.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I've been in this for many years. But nothing stresses you out more than you working a 9 to 5 or 8 to 4, 8 hours a day, and then you come home and you can't practice your craft and your talent and your love that what you like to do.
And that's so true. I end up I'm 21. I just turned 21.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. And
Happy birthday.
Thank you. And I ended up quitting my 9 to 5 when I started managing, and when I realized how much time that I really needed and how much my job didn't respect that time, and realizing like what actually made me happy. Like I was working weekends, I was working overnight, like 10 to 12-hour shifts. I was in school. And the thing is that no matter how much I was in school and making however much money I was making, the main thing that made me happy was helping out my artists and helping support them and helping them get to a point that they wanted to get. So I had a conversation with myself, and I was like, you know what? I can do this, and I don't need the job, and I can see where I can get from there. And then I haven't worked since then, just because I push my guys very hard and my lady, and on top of just pushing everything else and understanding like this is what I love. And if I got to take a couple of sacrifices at the end of the day to get it done, then I'm willing to try.
Somebody in this room and somebody on the other end of that screen needed to hear that story today.
And the thing of it is that that's so great, because I have a daughter that's 21 next week, as a matter of fact, and she's in college in New York, and she's working with someone that's a good friend of ours. And when I worked with MC Lighten, she worked there as well, but I actually knew her before then. But she's has a management company now and a marketing company, and my daughter works with her as her third job, because she's got like 3 jobs. So she works with her as a third job. So my daughter's meeting all these people that I wanted to meet. I'm like, wait a minute, Mick Murphy from the System. He was there? Yeah, he was there, Dad. What? Pete Rock was there.
Oh,
I'm like,
come on.
I've been trying to meet Pete Rock for years, and you meet him. Well, who's Pete Rock, Dad? I said, sweetheart, don't ever tell anybody you don't know who Pete Rock is. But I told her who he was. She was like, wow. She said, but Dad, it was a whole lot of people there. And unfortunately, she had to leave early because she had got her second shot. And she started feeling the effects of it. So she had to go home. But she met so many of those people. And this is the intertwine, one of the other types of intertwine that happens. And we need more of that in this business. Like, young lady, you've been in this, and you're one of the youngest that I've met that have gotten into the management side of this.
Yeah.
This is the only art form or culture or music that you don't see any support for the past groups. The country music community, they support people that have been there that are still living. If you're still living, and even if you're not still living, they're going to still support you, or your children. They're going to do it. The hip hop there's no unity with that.
Well,
and I saw
end
Marley Marl say something about that once. But that's something that has to change.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why a lot of people are like, who is that? That was in the 80s. I even had somebody tell me who was Rakim. Ask me who was Rakim.
I hope they learned something from you.
Well, yes, they did, but they didn't just learn about Rakim. They learned about Big
Like
Daddy
a whole
Kane.
lesson.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
learned about, wait a minute, they learned about Roxanne Shante. They also learned about Grandmaster Caz. They learned about, and I'm getting stumped right now, from Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5, Sha-Rock. You know, they learned about Sha-Rock, Queen Lisa Lee. I can go on and on and on. So that conversation from a 5-minute meeting turned into a 2.5-hour conversation.
There's too much. There's too much that has to be taught. I was telling you earlier, I'm shocked every time I say, oh yeah, we're doing an exhibition at VMFA called Dirty South. Even some of our curators had never heard the phrase Dirty South.
Yeah, and see, Dirty South came about in the 90s. You know, like I said, with Jermaine Dupri and all of them down in Atlanta and everything. And here's my definition of Dirty South. First of all, I don't believe Virginia to be the Dirty South. I don't.
Okay, come on.
Virginia is the Mid-Atlantic. If you ask the record reps years ago, they used to service us, they said that's Mid-Atlantic. Virginia, Richmond, all that Mid-Atlantic. And I think they even included the beach. Now, I'll go as far as this. To me, I believe that from Newton, North Carolina, all the way down to Florida, even if it's something in Key West, I'll go as far as Key West. Might get a little wet and dirty, but you get it down. That's what I call Dirty South. Okay, and then go over to Texas and Alabama and all that. Go over to that a little bit. Now, if that's not good enough for people, okay, I'll even give you the 757. Okay. But I'll say that Dirty South stops at Williamsburg.
Okay.
That's what I would say. From that on up is Mid-Atlantic, and then in DC, that's north going up. That's my definition.
I think it makes it difficult as well, especially like someone that's very young and coming into this to like to understand that, you know, and to even try to like market my people within those realms, because like even with you saying that, I'm like, yo, like the music changes when you go from right there, from like, and that's why it's difficult for Richmond artists and VA artists to figure out if they what sound they have and what sound they're going for, because the Mid-Atlantic sound, the DMV sound, the up north sound, the down south sound is so different, and it's just like, where can we categorize ourselves?
And I didn't even touch on the DMV. I didn't even touch on that, you know, because to me, I can touch a little bit on DMV, but I'd rather not, because the things I touch on are the things that I've lived and the things I've been involved with so much. I've been so much involved with the filming situation for the last 10 years that I kind of devoted a lot of my attention on that. I've just begun lately to get back into the, you know, matter of fact, it's been 3 years now. I've been back going strong with DJing again, fresh in myself when we had our first 30-year reunion. As the Z-Rock crew, we've gotten back into that. And then my internet station I have, and as far as doing music on that I've gotten music is such a bigger part of my everyday life now, like it used to be. But I tend to stick more so on the you know, the subject about Mid-Atlantic, you know, and then you say in the Dirty South and all that. But like I said, that's my definition for Dirty South to me. And that's going on experiences that what I've seen. Now, it was amazing because in back in the days when we were doing records here, we had a different sound than down in Hampton and Norfolk and Virginia Beach. We had a different sound. Okay. I recorded at Master Sound down in Virginia Beach, the studio that Teddy Riley wanted to buy, and that the Neptunes bought.
Oh.
I recorded in that. If you go to my Facebook page, you'll see me in that studio doing some recording with a group that was from here called, they were called Phil Man and the NS Pot. May Phil Man rest in peace. Carlton Barfield, he passed away 2 years ago. And I miss him a lot, man. I really do. DJ Ramone, I know y'all may have heard of DJ Ramone. Yeah. Well, DJ Ramone and I did a lot of work in the studio, at that studio and Timmy K's studio. See, we had little pocket studios back then. The studios were very, very scarce in Richmond, Virginia years ago.
And they're so oversaturated. I'm a studio engineer as well.
We got a ton of
so I was like, they're so oversaturated now. You can walk up the block and you run into like 2 or 3 recording studios.
Please don't open the studio, y'all. We got it.
Like, you know.
This where I'm sitting right now is my studio.
The support.
But my studio is, as you can see, broadcast. This is the broadcast side. Behind me is some of my CDs, but on the other side, I was just telling Robert earlier, all that is wax, all on that wall. You know, I've actually built this a few years ago, and now I got to build a bigger space because I've run out of room. You know,
Blessings.
so I have a studio here. The recording side, I've got that over on this side of me. You know, so you know there are different aspects and facets of this space that I'm in. So everybody has a studio now. You have a laptop.
You got a
You got a
studio.
studio.
Yeah, that's it.
You know,
Please,
you
y'all.
got a studio.
You're
You
good.
know, it's
Fine with the
good.
support.
Look, listen. It's good to an extent, yes. In a big way, it is. It's very, very good. But just like she said, it's so saturated.
Yeah.
But so now what it is, it's like you're getting music of from so many angles.
Mhm.
So it's like, okay, what's going to set this apart?
Yeah, you don't even know what to listen to. It's
That's
everywhere.
why I look at the artists and I say to them, and I'm going to look at them right now, tell them that are watching this. Do something out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
Do something that's going to be the next big thing.
Yes.
I remember my brother Divine said that on an interview. He said, I'm waiting for the next big thing.
Please stop doing what everybody else is doing.
Don't do what everybody else does.
Don't, because it's not going to do anything but put you in that blind and gray area with everybody else. The way for you to, like, the way I pick my artists, all my artists are different from each other and anybody else that I listen to. Why? Because at the end of the day, you have to be different. You know, Beyonce is Beyonce because she's different. Because she couldn't beat anybody else. She couldn't fit inside anybody else's box. Oh. And once everybody starts to realize that, okay, cool, I am putting myself in a box. Let me take myself out and see what my actual options are and how I can expand and how I can actually grow with being outside this box. You will start to really feel like you're getting genuine support. You'll start to feel yourself a lot more too as an artist, because you'll start to be like, okay, wow, like I'm not just trying to be like this person. I'm not trying to just do this. Like you're trying to be you fully.
And take your time. Take your time. You have nothing to rush for. Don't listen. And you're a manager. And I'm saying this for managers too now. Don't listen to someone saying, I got to have your material now because I got something on the table. Well, what's that you got on the table?
And why wouldn't it not be on the table tomorrow?
You know?
Yeah, like that's
hone your craft.
Like, why wouldn't it
hone your craft. Hone your craft. Hone your craft. I can't say it enough. Hone your craft. Hone that thing to where you play it where somebody's going to be like, okay, I never heard nothing like that before. I have a cousin. He's got a group called the Trash Company.
Okay.
Yes, the Trash Company. He's older than I am. I think he's about 60 now. His name's Max. Max has a sound that reminds you of early funkadelic stuff.
Okay.
If you've heard the early funkadelic stuff, you probably are like, what in the world were they doing? But if you really listen to it and get into it, I mean, come on. They had an album called Maggot Brain.
Yeah, well.
Free your mind and your ass will follow.
Yeah.
But that is a bar and the truth.
America eats its young. That's very, very reflective of what's going on today.
That is deep and dark as a pit.
And it's been going on for years.
But we need more stuff like this, what's going on now, because even in the same sense, like, I feel like I always learn, and I love to always learn from somebody and having these interactions, and I just feel like more people that's my age within the music industry don't have those people that are, like, really willing to not even just share gems, but even just to educate us on, like, just the history, to put us on game, to actually, like, you know, and say, you know, when you don't know something, it's like, oh God, you don't know what's wrong with you, who raised you, versus being like, you know what, let me tell you this, let me actually share this with you, so now when you go on, you can share this with somebody else and you can understand what it is. So, like, this is really dope.
You see, all this is why I told you all at home, I have facts, I can teach you some stuff.
Yes.
But I'm an opera singer. You know, and we need some people who, I'm an opera singer, a composer, a conductor. Well, you'll learn more. You want to hear? I'll say, I might have to sing a little bit after the cameras turn off. But I needed people who lived it, who are living it with me, to help tell the story. Now, going back to history, somebody's once said, the history in Richmond is just the Civil War.
I said that.
I was trying not to.
No.
He did say that, but then he pulled out of it, told us more.
Robert, let me say this, okay? I ain't scared.
Don't be.
I ain't scared. That's the truth. Richmond has more history than the Civil War.
There we go. That's what I want to
Richmond has more. Richmond has, this town, okay? This town is responsible for many successes in the music industry over the years.
Hear about it.
We were a test market, still a so-called now, but years ago we were a true test market. James Brown, this was his second home. If you saw the James Brown movie, when he talked about we're going to go to Richmond and talk to Alan Leeds, Alan Leeds worked with Tom Mitchell, the first African-American Black broadcaster in Richmond in the 20s. I was fortunate enough to get some knowledge from Tom Mitchell. I'm sorry. Let me do this real quick. Y'all stand by real quick. I want to show you something. Hold on.
Okay. All right. Well, we're about to learn something.
I'm happy to be here.
I want to learn more about what you
I had
did.
to do this
Oh, here.
because I think it's so important that I do. All right.
Oh, look at that. Okay, what's this?
That's Tiger Tom Mitchell. 100 years he lived. 100 years.
That's
This
influence.
man right here is who Alan Leeds got his training from.
Right.
Alan Leeds went on to promote Prince, James Brown, and others. Alan Leeds is still around. Yep. Alan Leeds. We were at that type of test market. When the hip hop shows, a lot of the big tours, they started here.
Give us one.
1987. I was going there.
I like it.
Yeah.
The Def Jam tour.
Here we go.
3 days they stayed here in Richmond, Virginia. 3 days they came on WKIE with the Z-Rock crew. The group
This
that I'm
man
a
right
part
here.
of. And they hung out with us for 3 days. We got pictures and we got the proof, the flyers. We got them. 1988, Def Jam tour 1988 with Run DMC, Public Enemy, started here. Stayed 3 days to kick the tour off. Stayed here 3 days. Show sold out. Fresh Fest, 1984, right here. Jose Fox, the great Jose, promoter here, brought the Fresh Fest here.
In our backyard.
In our back.
So how can we do that again? Because it just seems like, because I've been managing artists, it just seems like Richmond has like this stronghold on what they decide gets big performers or gets shine or gets light. You know, especially even within like, not even just hip hop, just within everything. It's kind of like there's this golden gate and you have to be along these certain lines to get through the golden gate. And
Well, first of all, we don't have big enough venues anymore. They've closed the Coliseum.
Yeah.
Coliseum's closed. Because I mean, some folks have mixed emotions about it, but the big project they were going to bring to Navy Hill, that would have brought a big venue here.
I was here for the Navy Hill.
And that is not going to happen now. And then you got the Coliseum just sitting there empty. And I don't know what the outcome is going to be with that. So that's number one. Number two, the Altria, it's good for that. But you got to look at what has gone on over the years when it came to hip hop shows. Unfortunately, you had those that messed it up for others. You know, we had some confrontations and stuff to happen. People got hurt. You know, and the promoters did not want that on their. They did not want that on their hands. You know, the insurance was too much. You know, and I understand that. But then again, the other thing that is unfortunate, like I said, we don't have big venues. Promoters are looking for big venues because they want a return on their investment.
Yeah, you gotta have it.
See, so you're seeing a lot of groups, especially a lot of the classic hip hop groups, the pioneer hip hop groups, they're doing either outside events or they're doing venues. Now I'm talking about pre-COVID and stuff. And now that hopefully this COVID thing is coming to an end now, you'll see more of that. One of the things that we do is we have a Z-Rock Crew Junior Funk Machine reunion jam we've been doing for the last 3 years after we did the Z-Rock Crew 30th reunion. We do these jams in the park and out in Virginia Randolph Park out in Glen Allen on Mountain Road, and they're free. We ask for donations, so we just have to pay for the, to buying the license, and we try to have food out there and everything. And that's a thing for folks our age. A lot of young people don't come to it because, we're not playing, the current stuff, and that's understandable. But we play a lot of the old stuff because a lot of that stuff is not being played at all unless you go on the internet.
Yeah,
But we look for the day that we can have it all for all.
Let me tell you something. I got a great big sculpture garden that is now a concert venue. Has been for the past year. You didn't hear about this?
No.
As soon as the light turns green, you're getting invitations.
I will be
You're
there.
getting invitations.
Be
In fact, some of the people that DJ Jamil Jasey, who's going to be spinning later on, he and I are working together to create a project that may live in that space. It may still be virtual, but we have more things to do. Yeah. I have
and I love
space.
the VMFA. That's one of my favorite places here. Like I love the fact that it's free too. I love artwork. I love art. I like creativity. Period. So being there is like being at home. It's kind of like being at the Nutty Buttery. Like this is like my home. This is a place of creativity, of artwork, of love. So it kind of rings the same way.
Well, that's part of what this conversation we're having right now is about, trying to figure out what's missing. How is there a gap between a place like VMFA that's right in the heart of the city and folks like you all who didn't even know there was a home for you still right here in your backyard? And how do I better reach into this community and say, no, y'all, I'm trying to love with you. Come on over here and teach me something and learn something from me at the same time.
Well, I think what you're doing right here, right now is helping with that. Yesterday, I didn't even know you existed. I didn't know any of this existed yesterday. Today I do. Thanks to Jamil that reached out to me and said, listen, man, I know it's late notice, but this would be perfect for you. I think, do you want to be? Yeah, okay, cool. I said, well, what exactly is it that you need from me? And Jamil, he always has given props to those that he feels that he's learned something from over the years. And we appreciate him for that. We really do. We have a genuine love for Jamil. And, my man Sims too. The same thing. But you doing what you're doing now, and now that I know, and Jaquan knows, yes, people will know from now on you got this going on over there, especially in air circles. Because I'm gonna say this too, and I did not come on here to step on nobody's toes. I didn't come on here to make anybody feel uncomfortable. I didn't do that. But what I will say is that a lot of times when you have people that have great influence that know of folks like us, they don't say anything.
They hide it.
They hide it because I think that some feel that if they let you know that these people exist, that's going to take the shine away from them.
I'm glad you said that.
I feel that too.
If you've noticed through a lot of this conversation that's been going on, I've been always talking about Jaquan. Talking about the Z-Rock crew, Sir RJ. I got to bring him up because RJ really helped us get back out there. RJ. So I'm always shouting other people out because they are responsible for who I am. Okay. Chris Brooks, same thing. Responsible for to help who I am. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. But you got those people that don't do that. They don't do that. They just feel that you're going to be a threat if you let them know. But you're one of the same people that helped them get to where they are.
That's right. And it goes back to her point earlier, this golden gate you've got to seem to pass through to get anywhere. Part of this mission that we're working towards in this very moment is to reach out to folks who aren't getting the call because, frankly, there's somebody like me who's getting the call. And, I've gotten enough calls. Many other people have gotten enough calls. It's not my mission. It is not my journey to help. It's not my journey to hurt them either, but to help people who are already getting that love, already getting those flowers. I want to shine a light on the other people who just need it.
So much. Because I literally had like a little Instagram rant because, I'm not going to say, but there's some artists in Richmond. There's like one artist and he's good. He's great. He's dope. But he gets so much love, and it's like nobody else pays attention to any other of the other young artists. Nobody else pays attention to any of the other work that's being done, and that's what, like, for the past like 2 or 3 years, I've devoted myself to making this standpoint that there's this massive sort of messing up. There's good music, there's good artistry, there's real love. You know, even with putting on my showcases, just like a lot of the stuff that I've been doing with help of the Nutty Buttery, with help of Jamil, but it's been me. And it sucks that, you know, I have to do all this by myself to show people that there's this thing going on, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to keep doing it. So this is amazing for me because I literally kind of cry about stuff like this, about
and you
not being heard.
And you keep doing that because, see, people don't realize. I got a lot of people mad at me for saying this, and I'm going to say it again because I stand behind it.
Oh, man.
I always talk about cliques in Richmond.
Oh.
Yeah.
I talk about it, and I don't want to get too far away into what it is that our mission is tonight. But I got to say this. People get caught up in cliques too much, meaning you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't want to go to an event that you've never heard about before just because nobody else in your clique goes to it.
Right.
Oh, we don't deal with that. We that's not it. First of all, you black people. First of all, it's have music. Go check it out. And if you don't like it, turn around and leave.
Oh, go someplace
Just
else.
give it a shot. But see, that's why I tell people, don't tell me it's not nothing to do in Richmond. Don't tell me that.
I can give people a list. At one point, there was open mics every single day. Before COVID, every single day. I can give you a list of stuff to do in Richmond where you're supporting somebody else and you're going to be having fun. It makes no sense for you to say there's nothing going on. There's everything going on in Richmond. You're just too lazy and you're too stuck in your way to actually go outside that.
Because it's not a certain event that happens either annually or twice a year. If it's not happening like that, you don't go to it. You never know what you're doing yourself a disservice. You don't know what you're cutting yourself out of. You don't know. I remember, like I was just saying earlier, I wasn't a lover of house music for years. I couldn't stand house music. Then one day, DJ Clash shows me some things about house music, and I'm like, I did myself a disservice. I love this. And house music is nothing but an extension of disco.
And it's another thing that comes out of the need for the unheard to make themselves heard, to find a way to be heard. Y'all can go back in the files and see we did the hip hop and house dance battle a few weeks ago, and you can hear some more about that. It's very obvious that this conversation is going to have part 2 and 3, and it's never going to die. We've been able to talk a little bit about where hip hop came from, the things that sort of fed and led into it. You came and joined us, and now we've been able to take that conversation and bring it to what's going on now and how we're using it, especially as a community. But where do we see it going tomorrow?
Well,
that's a good question. I'm going to let the young lady see what she says about that. That's a good question.
For me, I guess, I feel like I just know that everybody's going to get it eventually, you know, and it's just more or less of just being consistent with what I'm doing and spreading the message the same way that I am, because touching more people is going to get it like, okay, cool, we have to work together.
Right.
I should reach out to other people. I should try more. So I feel like it's just going to continue to get better every day. It's going to continue to get unified every day, even with this. You know, like this is a huge step for me, and it's going to just continue to just roll over and continue to roll over. So I don't know when, but I know that that hopefully sometime soon that there is going to be a time where everybody can really look at everybody, understand like this is a mirror. And if I do well for me, I do well for you, and we can continue to support each other and build for each other and listen to each other like thoroughly. So it's just about being consistent and waiting on that to happen.
There is so much power in youth. There really is. That is some fire. Now we've got this legend right here. What do you have to say?
Well, here's another thing. And I actually had stopped saying this, but I'm going to say it again. You've got hip hop and you have grip hop.
Okay.
Grip hop is all about the money. Nothing wrong with that. That's what you want to do. Don't mistake it for hip hop. What I'm hearing a lot of today is grip hop. Has no elements of the hip hop culture at all, but it's being labeled that from the record companies and the corporations. That's grip hop to me. Now you can do grip hop music all day long and still love hip hop. Yes, but just don't mix the two up. That's what I've been hearing a lot of. I've heard it kind of decrease lately. I have a son that does hip hop music and stuff too, and he produces. Matter of fact, he drives truck, and his studio is in his truck.
That's cool.
Okay, yeah.
It's in his truck. So
Wow.
I mean, I commend my son. I'm very proud of him.
Yes. I thought about doing the same thing, so that's cool.
Oh, trust me. It makes me rethink some things sometimes when he tells me how well he does with it.
Oh yeah, especially with mobile recording. He just pulls up at someone's house 2 hours, a certain amount, and mixing and mastering it. Oh yeah, he's definitely.
That too, but I'm talking about him driving a truck.
Oh
yeah.
You know what you could get from driving a truck, but yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, him having his stuff in his truck. I mean, say he's got an artist in Chicago, and he runs to Chicago twice a week or something like that, or once a week. He can record that artist there, get his lyrics on his time, his off time, and then just continue to do that and then email it to him. See, we're in such a great time right now for any music right now, even hip hop or anything. We're in a great time right now because you do not have to be where the recording studio that you're working with the producer at. You don't have to be there. All you do is just get the stuff MP3 to you. I mean, or wave to you, get it sent to you, through Dropbox or whatever. Play it back, record to it, send it back with the vocals. They go ahead and put it on the track and sync it up, mix it, boom, master it. They ready to go. It's a great time we're in. It's a great time.
Family, you are inspiring me too much, and going to make me mess my own self up and start saying I might want to start having conversations like this far more regularly.
Let's do it.
I think I'm gonna have
it. I think that's something we need to do.
Bring something out of everybody, and it's gonna make the people know that they're being heard by even the VMFA. You feel me? That's a larger entity, and that's even like the fact that I'm sitting here and you're actually listening to me, and I know that you're caring and you're here with everything that I'm saying. Is very dope and it's very
absolutely.
Because I'm gonna go home from this and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna push harder because I have people that I just met today that believe in what I have going on, and that's very important. Because
I wanted to push this too, real quick, and I know I've said a lot. Richmond Magazine has us in Richmond Magazine, an article on called "Going Way Back," talking about some of the history of hip hop in Central Virginia in Richmond. And it covers a lot of what I was saying and a lot of some of the things I wasn't saying. But also there's a documentary that I did called Hip Hop Legends of Central Virginia, again, that I'm looking to produce it was broadcast on CW a couple years back. I'm looking to rebroadcast it again because with the article coming out and some other things that some questions have come about and people that have called because of the article, I'm thinking of rebroadcasting it because I'm actually doing a revised version of it as well, and some things that I didn't have in the original version that I want to put in. But I'm looking to broadcast it on one of the stations again. I don't know if it's going to be CW. It may be, but then it may be one of the others. It all depends on what it is because we have to pay for it. So with that said, it's a 3-hour documentary. So it was over the course of 3 weekends that we broadcasted. But a lot of people saw it and they thought it was great. Is there a way
that we can view it now?
Not now, unless I can send you a link through YouTube. It's in an unlisted link. I can send it to you and you can look at it that way. That's not the revised version, but that it'll still represent the documentary. Only thing is being done as far as revising is just adding some things to it. Okay. The one you see will be the last one that I actually mastered for TV. So I'll activate the link and I'll send it to you, Robert.
Okay, please. I definitely want to check that out. There's a lot of stuff I know, and believe me, there's a lot that I know, but I don't know everything, and I need to learn a lot more. And every time I have a conversation like this, I realize that more and more. You know what I mean?
No, I understand.
There's a wealth of information everywhere around us. Now we're sitting up here in this restaurant that has to do business at some point, so we're gonna have to wrap up our talk. Let Jaquan know that this is not going to be the only talk that I really messed myself up. I'm so sorry, Celeste and Lulan. I'm gonna have to have more conversations just like this. I'm gonna have to figure out how. I'm gonna have to figure a lot of stuff out, but this has to happen again. Well, and not just 2 times. It's gotta go.
Robert, I'm definitely open for it, and I know Jay will be. I can speak for him and say that I know that he was, like you said, it was something that he didn't realize it was going to be that early, and he still was at work. But yes, I can almost tell you that he'll be willing to do it again. I know he would be, and me as well. Me as well.
Oh man, it
Yeah,
might
I
have to
just
be.
like to be here to watch again. Like, you know,
It might have to be dialogue. I mean, we might reach our wings out, sir, over to Los Angeles and New York and Philadelphia and around the world and see how many other people we can bring into this conversation because Richmond, Virginia is not to be slept on.
no, it is not.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, I can get people. I actually can, and you'll see it in the documentary. A couple of people that even spoke about how Richmond was influenced to them, you know, as far as on their tours and everything. And I may can reach out to a couple of them and see if I can get them in on one of their conversations and see if we can do that. And I know Jay can. I know he definitely can. And I can talk to a couple people as well and see if they'd be willing to do it.
Good. The three of us together, I mean, that there's going to be power behind this. I think we have a little bit of gold that we accidentally found.
It wasn't accidental. I was like, I knew gold was here.
Yeah.
I knew gold was here, and I don't know why, but I just knew it. Like even when I'm an education major at Virginia Union, biology. I was a musician, but once I started managing and once I started seeing things for what it is, I'm like, yo, Richmond is slept on. There's talent here. There's so much that's just sitting in this little pot that's just like not being.
It's been going on like that for years. And that's the unfortunate thing. It should have ended long time ago.
Really I mean, like even when I think of people from my generation that have gone up and made their way, you know, like my biggest thing is that I want to be able to have like a network from Richmond to the industry. So at the end of the day, like, you know, like when Trey Songz got big and when Chris Brown and with Pharrell, all that stuff, it won't just be that one time, that one every 5 years, that one every 6 to 10 years.
We should have had a major label have an office here. There was no reason for a major label not to have an office here. There was no reason for it not to happen.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't want us to have a network to the labels, a network to the industry. I want us to be the industry.
And see, half the issue was, I got to say it again, because they had a misconception of Richmond, Virginia, because of that so-called history of Richmond. That was the only type of history that was tied to Richmond. You know, the Confederacy. No, it's so much bigger than that. So
we are opening eyes tonight, and watch this video again, share it around. We're going to keep opening eyes. Before we wrap this up and get to the music, y'all, you think we're just talking at you tonight. We're going to get some music in a second. Plug something. Okay. How do we hear more about you? How do we hear more about you?
Oh, I got you. Oh, unless you want to go first.
No, you go first. I've talked a lot, so no, you go first.
Okay, so if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, I do have 3 Instagrams. Okay, I have a personal Instagram, and the Instagram name is itself because my name is 7. Melodic Mondays. That's melodic_Mondays. If you really want to do me something, don't follow me on Instagram. Okay, come to the Nutty Buttery, 701 West Clay Street on a Monday, 6 to 11. We do a cypher at the end. It's really, really dope. Bring a friend, bring a creator, somebody that wants to perform. Please come through. Like, I don't even care about the rest of the Instagram. Just Melodic Mondays. Come through, show your talent, you know, and network and enjoy and make music with some people. You know, have some fun. And y'all should come too. Y'all should definitely come too. It's really fun.
Well, I'm gonna come. I just, like I said before, I just got my second shot and I was on my back for 2 days.
Oh no,
so it's gonna be once I'm actually much better today this evening. But I can tell you, once the 2 weeks pass, that they say you need to wait 2 weeks to pass. My wife and I said, we're going out. We're going somewhere.
You guys will have a great time.
I'm coming. If it's open mic, you might get a song out of me.
Ooh, I would love that.
This room's a little small for this great big voice I got.
Hey, that's the best part about it, though, because we're gonna fill the entire space. Yes, that's what's gonna happen.
Now, you, sir, how do we find you? How do we learn more? How do we stay connected to your brain?
You can go to Elbravador on Facebook. You can please like the page. You can go to the Z-Rock Crew on Facebook. Follow the Z-Rock Crew. Soul Image Film Network /festival page for my film festival that I have once a year. You can go to that, like and share that page as well.
We do films at the museum now.
Well, then we need to talk because guess what? We can have a showing of the documentary there if you want.
I had that in my mind. I was like, I don't know. But yeah, let's. I didn't mean to stop you.
I'm gonna just get some people together and I'm gonna make sure.
Yes, we can do that. We can show the documentary there. I'll say it right now. We'd be glad to bring it there and show it.
All right. I stopped
also, Elbravador Filmworks on Facebook, Elbravador on Instagram. My main page, don't worry about it because Facebook messed my whole name up.
Yeah.
It messed my whole name up. But
well, you've given us plenty of ways to
don't
find
even
it.
worry about the main page. Just go to one of those pages. You can send me a message off of there. Elbravador.com also. You can send me messages through that and connect with me. And we're going to start shooting their films again and their documentaries. Jaquan and I are working on some things, some film stuff that we were working on before COVID. Right before COVID really hit, we had to shut down production because of COVID. Yeah. We're going to start that back up very, very soon. And I'm going to start up also doing the films that I do. And I do independent films as well as documentaries. So I'm going to start those back up again this year as well. And add block parties with the Z-Rock crew, Sir RJ, and the Junior Funk Machine block parties are going to happen either the middle of the summer or towards the end of the summer.
I'm going to be doing a day party too. I got your information. I'm going to contact you because I'm going to have like a big day party kind of thing. Just people to come out and have fun, performances. I'm going to have like a mental health group. There's a whole lot of things that I'm going to have out there.
That would be great. That would be great. We'll be glad to be a part of that. No doubt about it.
Okay, well, folks at home, you know what I say. Thank you for loving with us. Thank you for listening to us, and thank you for learning from us. We have been talking our behinds off right here, and I have so much more to say, but at some point I've got to give you something to dance to also. So Fridays After 5 presented by Chase, First Fridays. We have had a ball. I did not expect it to be this good, and I'm not satisfied, so we're doing it.
Because we got more.
Yes, ma'am, we have. But until then, we've got some music, so get up, pour yourself something to drink, bottle of water or whatever else, whatever you like, and let's party. Thank you both. Good night.
Yes, thank you.
Peace and blessings.
Yes, it's a pleasure meeting you.
Same here.
Time. a sucker could never spend. But I wouldn't give a sucker for a bone in the rock and not a dime till I make it again. Everybody go home, tell what you gonna do today. Say I get fly, girl, I'm gonna get some stack and drive off in the new 4J. Everybody go home, tell, holiday in. Say if your girl starts acting up, then you take a friend. Master G, and my mellow, it's on you. So what you gonna do?
Girl, I must warn you. I sense something strange in my mind. Your situation is scary cause we're running out of time.
It's your girlfriend's favorite DJ. It's your girlfriend's favorite DJ.
Let's go!
DJ Dion.
It's coming so love is not to get I take precaution before I step to meet my girl. You know, cause it's emotion. She's the best thing in the world. She's so high, she'll drive you right out of your mind. Steal your heart in your mind. You hear she's scheming, she'll make you think you're dreaming.
The summer's